Welcome to another edition of SMTV, brought to you by Splash Media. I'm your host, Duncan Gilman, and with me once again is Brandy Powers. Brandy, welcome.
Thank you. So glad to be here today.
You know, later today we'll talk to an Indiana University student who decided to take the bull by the horns and create her own college major. And of course, she chose social media. Of course, why not? Of course. But first, a few interesting stories to talk about. We can't go past October, early November, of course, without coming back to elections and social media.
Yes, 'tis the season.
It is the season for elections, and a couple of updates that we saw through Google surveys. Very interesting stuff, and actually presented in a really nice manner here with these charts. It is very pretty. These results of actually the first presidential debate and who the general public thought won, came out on top.
Well, actually, you know what? This survey is actually done by 525, I believe, independent, or people who are undecided, actually, for this survey. But 48% of these people surveyed said that the candidate, or the the presidential candidate, Mitt Romney, won the first debate, and 25 with Obama. And what shocked me is that 13% couldn't decide who won the debate.
And I guess that is why we have more than one debate, but that's been my thought about the undecided voters they get, especially for the town hall setups, is you're probably leaning one way or the other.
You have to be.
And I would think by the end of that debate that you get to be there and ask questions, you probably have a good feeling for who you're going to vote for.
You should at least be able to see the stance, the quality of the questions that are being answered, how they delivered the message, just their posture, body language, to at least decide a winner of the debate. Even if you don't decide who you want to vote for at the time after the debate, immediately after, you should still be able to decide who won the debate.
Who knows? I mean, and that's why, you know, it's great to have at least the category of undecided voters so that we can really get to the bottom of each of these issues.
Right.
You know, also on social media, you can't help but wonder what people are actually doing during these debates, what they're searching for, the hashtags they're using. We saw so many of these come up last night with the second presidential debate. But in the vice presidential debate between Joe Biden and Paul Ryan, Google put out a list of the top 4 searches with each of those names.
Yes, and I think that this survey was funny. It's just interesting to find out what people associate with people that were, our hot topics right now. So for Joe Biden, we have
Ryan debate, of course, because people are searching for the debate.
Right. How old? Actually, this was for both candidates. How old? We want to know, like, how old is Joe and how young is Ryan? So that was funny.
And here's where they split off a little bit.
This is where they got very, very different. Jill has always been a staple when searching for the Vice President Joe Biden, and then laughing. He did a lot of laughing during that interview.
That's true.
So it was, that's obvious, one of the top 4. But then let's talk about Paul Ryan and his other 2.
We've got shirtless and workout.
I love it. Shirtless and workout. There were pictures circulating when he officially got the nod to be the VP candidate about him running on the beach with his shirt off. And, a lot of people found that, well, some people found it inappropriate, some people found it intriguing, to say the least. But then also his workout regimen. They want to know, what's he doing to have that body. So
did you ever watch any old episodes of Family Feud?
Family Feud, yes.
And this reminds me, in fact, the whole layout here reminds me of an old episode of Family Feud where we got the topic Paul Ryan, and then we've got the people guessing shirtless.
Yeah, shirtless. Workout. How old is he? That's great.
I think this would be perfect. We need a politics and social media version of Family Feud.
We should. Let's get that to go
we could use the actual searches.
Right.
We will put that together and let you know. The other interesting news comes as a really helpful reminder that it's really important to keep everything secure, including your Facebook.
Yes. This month is the month for online security awareness. So I think that Facebook putting out this notice that they're beefing up their mobile security is a big deal. It's apropos for the season. So I think they added 7 more companies.
Right, and what I love is that you can actually download these apps, use some of the services from these security companies, and some of these are already big companies like McAfee and Norton and Sophos. And these are great ways to enhance your mobile Facebook
experience, right. They scan for phishing scams. They scan for, just websites or URLs that are very negative, and they could, just basically just put any kind of virus into your mobile device. So I think that Facebook is stepping up. I know we talked about Facebook last Wednesday and kind of having some negative connotations to them. So I'm glad that we have a good report or something positive to talk about for Facebook.
I am too, especially with how fast mobile use of social media is increasing.
Right. Yeah, it's a big deal.
We always love getting questions and comments from our viewers, so please don't hesitate to reach out to us when you have something to say. Later today, we'll answer a few questions we received this week.
There are a couple of ways you can contact us. Of course, you can email us to questions@splashmediau.com, and of course, you can tweet us by using hashtag SMTV questions.
Here at Splash Media, we've documented the shift taking place in the marketing world away from traditional media and toward the social media platforms, of course. Naturally, that shift tends to trickle down to the place where tomorrow's business leaders are getting their starts, the universities. But have universities caught up with the times when it comes to their course offerings for potential social media marketers? I recently had a chance to talk to Indiana University student and budding YouTube sensation, Alyssa Andrews, on how her university has addressed this topic. Alyssa, welcome and thanks for joining us on the show today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Basically, you're doing something that's kind of rare, kind of unique. You have created your own major. Tell me a little bit about that process and how you got started.
Well, I got started because I was seriously considering majoring in general education, and I got strongly advised not to do so. But at IU, we have something called the Individualized Major Program, and through that, you major. It's essentially in the College of Arts and Sciences, but on top of that, you just kind of build your own pathway and your own curriculum to customize it to what you want to decide it on social media.
Was it tough to convince the administration that this was a good way to go, or did you always have support from your teachers or your family and friends along the way for this process?
Not at all. At first, it got shot down really bad because with the individualized major program, you have to have at least 2 administration, faculty, teachers on your side kind of mentoring you and watching over what you do. And it was really hard to convince teachers, like, why am I doing this in the first place? And what about social media that makes, that's like different than what IU already has to offer that's not already in marketing or something like that.
Well, and I think you're on the right track because a lot of schools now are getting rid of their journalism departments or changing them drastically. So it kind of makes sense to find and carve a new path for yourself.
Exactly. And I mean, a lot of journalism, marketing, so many majors have focuses in social media, but none that are really like solely for the purpose of social media. And I think it's important now. It's huge. Like, why is there not already?
You mentioned your interest in. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. It's just
fine.
like now that I'm starting to do this, and I'm kind of getting the word out, and someone's already doing it. It's like really catching on, and it's not such a negative reaction anymore. It's becoming like, why wasn't there already not? It's 2012.
That's great. I'll be interested to see if any other students or any other schools decide to pursue the same kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's already kids that are asking me, hey, like, I want to do this too, and I'm like, I don't really know like if I have to go through this first, and then, but there's already kids that are trying to like do the same thing that I'm doing now. So
how do you see social media influencing your career path?
Well, as of right now, at least, getting started out, I mean, social media, it's free for me, easy. There's absolutely, why would I not take advantage of it? So I think it's the easiest way to get to everybody that I want to get to, which is, I mean, it's not even just our age group now, it's everybody is on, and that's where everybody's at. So to like be going straight to where my audience is completely how I get my word out about what I want to do.
Actually, that's a perfect point. I'm so glad you mentioned talking to your audience and getting where they are, because we talk to businesses every day about the hows and the whys of social media. What would your advice, as someone who studies social media, not only is involved with it every day, but is actually actively studying it, what would your advice be to these businesses who are maybe a little hesitant? They don't necessarily want to get involved. They're a little scared to because they don't know, is my audience there? How do I keep them there? What would you say to those businesses?
Well, something I think about a lot, and 2 like huge major things, and part of the reason how I get people on board with what I'm even doing and studying social media in the first place, as far as businesses go, I mean, why would you not take advantage of that? That is free advertising. That's a perfect way to get straight to your like target audience, right where you want to be. I know that on college campuses like at IU, if we see a commercial, we may or may not see their commercial for $5 off of pizza for Domino's, but if they're sitting there, if they're on our timeline somewhere, we're in class like scrolling through, that's where we're at. And if we see that, we're so much more likely to take advantage and like see them and get their word out. And another thing that's really huge is you're automatically turned off when you see something that looks spammy, like automatic generated. It's not them. And if somebody is from the company is actually on there organically tweeting out information, you can tell it's genuine and it's them. That's so much more, and it's like so much easier to follow. And for businesses to like, I mean, it's easy. Just get on Twitter and make a profile, you know.
Yeah, and I think with the kind of experience that you've had and the kind of advice that you can give like that, it certainly makes sense that that more and more colleges are going to have programs like this, and more students are actually going to come up with something that incorporates a lot more social media, because it sounds like, I mean, I think at this point you could probably go out into the world now and consult with a business, because you're in it every day. You could consult with a business on best practices and how to grab their market share.
Mm-hmm. Well, already right now, just from I started a few months ago was when I decided I'm going to declare a major in social media and pursue this. And already I've gotten, you know, on LinkedIn or Twitter, people finding me. I'm the social media director for IU's lacrosse team. So like, it's really catching on. You know, it's hard at first to be that first person that's going in there and saying, hey, let's do this. But I think social media is, especially right now, extremely important, and important enough to me to make a major out of it.
That's fantastic. Alyssa, thank you so much for joining us. It sounds like it's really paying off for you, and we look forward to following you along your journey and seeing what's next.
Thanks for having me.
If you're a fan of Indiana University or just want to see what else Alyssa is up to, you can follow her on Twitter at Hoosier Lyss. Now let's go ahead and answer a few questions that you've sent in to us this week.
Our first question is from Jeff, who wants to know, can you walk me through All-In-One SEO plugin for WordPress?
Absolutely. This is a great SEO plugin, and it's not the only one, but it is one that's very easy to use and very handy when you want one place to put in all of your SEO for that post, or even for the whole blog. So I've got a post open. I'm in the back end of WordPress. I logged into my account, and this is just one particular post, but I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of this post and show where the SEO, the All-In-One SEO pack here is at the bottom.
Great.
And this is just one place where you can put in title, description, and keywords. Sometimes we leave those off just because search engines don't use those anymore.
Right.
It's more for, on the back end, you can see what keywords someone tried to rank for. But great place, great opportunity to be able to put in an optimized title here,
right,
with your key phrase toward the beginning and an optimized description. And
then also, well, that's what you mentioned toward the beginning. That's a very good tip.
Oh yes,
I think a lot of people aren't aware of that tip and how powerful it is. But
it is, because the search engines read like we do. So if you have the key phrase at the beginning of not only the title,
right,
but up toward the beginning of your post too, somewhere in that first paragraph, it makes all the difference.
It sure does. All right, and the next question is, Sarah wrote to us and asked, what's a good source for free, low-cost WordPress themes?
Well, you know, you can actually just do a search on Google for free WordPress themes. I did one earlier here. Let me take a look here. And it's got had about 82 million results here.
Yes, there's
for
a lot.
Free WordPress themes.
It's easy to be overwhelmed, but there's a whole bunch out there.
And some of these are great because some of these design sites offer a subscription-based service where you can pay $39, $49,
nice,
and you get complete access to all the themes.
Right.
And the other alternative is to pay for an individual theme at a time, and
right,
you can pick exactly the one that you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah. But I would say do this as a second alternative. Do this as a last resort. First, take a look at the WordPress themes. Go to WordPress, take a look at the themes directory. I pulled it up here on the page.
See what's out there.
See what's out there and see what might work with your brand, because these are really beauously designed themes offered straight from WordPress.
Yeah, me personally, I use one that's straight from WordPress. I think that they're beautifully designed, but again, like you mentioned, just make sure that they stay consistent with your brand, and you're not using different colors, or that it's too different from your main website. Just keep it consistent across the board.
Yeah, that's the nice thing. If you have gone through all the WordPress themes from their directory and really felt like, well, these are great, but they don't really match the design I'm trying to do on my website,
right,
do a Google search, and it's the easiest way to find millions of sites offering those themes.
Yeah, so take your time as you sift through.
Absolutely, because it is important to make these decisions with some thought behind them.
Not in a vacuum, for sure, because you want to, again, keep it consistent, and don't get overwhelmed, because there's a lot of options out there.
It is very easy to get overwhelmed, but that's why we're here. That's going to do it for today. Special thanks again to Alyssa Andrews for generously giving us her time to talk about social media's impact on the university scene.
And thank you for giving us your time as well. For everyone here at Splash Media, I'm Brandy Powers.
And I'm Duncan Gilman. Thanks for watching.